You are Locked On Braves POSTCAST, part of Locked On Sports Atlanta, your team every day.
And welcome into the Braves POSTCAST, part of the all-new Locked On Sports Atlanta. I'm Grant McAuley. He is Jake Mastroianni, and boy, do we have a good one for you as the Braves marched into New York for their first meeting with the New York Mets, first of a 4-game series, and they draw first blood. 5-2, the final score. The former Met Travis d'Arnaud haunting his old club, and we saw something, Jake, that I like to call maximum freed on this night, as Max was in control over the first 6 innings, and all of those things really worked together for the Braves to get themselves a nice little comeback win.
They did in a game that they, really needed to win for obvious reasons, but also you pushed Max Fried back to start this game to get this series on going off on the right foot, and they got the win, so certainly it worked out in that regard.
Yeah, good gambit for Brian Snitker's club as Max Fried helped the Braves grab a win in the opener of this series, and we got a lot to get to on this edition of the Braves POSTCAST. But before we get started with that, I want to remind you to subscribe on YouTube to the all-new Locked On Sports Atlanta. Make sure you click the bell, get notifications whenever we drop an episode, and also make sure you subscribe to Locked On Braves wherever you get your podcast. Not only will you get the feed from the Braves POSTCAST, but you'll get each and every episode that Jake has coming your way all season long. So lots of good stuff. Hit subscribe there, hit subscribe on YouTube, and follow us along as the Braves march through this season and march into the summer, which is right around the corner. But we know, Jake, a big part of this was going to be who's going to step up in the National League East and give the Braves a run for their money. And I say that with any and all pun intended. The New York Mets over the winter said, hey, we got some money. We're going to spend it. We're going to get better. And thus far, the results have been quite good for New York. But for the Braves, it's been kind of one of those one step forward, 2 step back kind of feelings throughout the season as they've had trouble winning series. But not to be on this night. This was a little bit of everything that seemed to work right for the 2021 club, really for the last 4 years for the Braves. A comeback win, just their second of the season.
It was, and they got off to a good start in Texas as well. Like you said, one game, one of that series, and then just completely fell apart. So like you said, it's kind of 1 step forward, 2 steps back. Hopefully going up against a division opponent that they're chasing, that this gets them off on the right foot here. Like I said, pushing Max Fried back to start this game, kind of, not really sacrificing that series against Texas. But I mean, I got to think if he pitches on Sunday, they got a real good chance of winning that series.
Right.
So you push them to this Mets series. You have to win this game. And they did. And like you said, they won it in a fashion that we're used to seeing this Braves team win in the past, where they stick right there. Pitching keeps them in the game, and the offense gets going late and put the game away. And that's certainly, what we're looking for more of. We just need to see consistency with it. And we have not seen that from this Braves team yet.
No, consistency, something they're definitely searching for, both in the lineup, also in the starting rotation. We've seen a lot of great stuff from Max Fried. We've seen even greater stuff, I think, from Kyle Wright thus far, but some question marks after them in terms of coming out there every 5th or 6th day, depending on how this rotation's been set up, and figuring out ways to give the club the innings that they need in order to set them up, give them the foundation to win these games. But, the pitching can do all that it needs to do, and that is one side of it. But the offense really, and the runners in scoring position, some of the hitting with runners on just in general has not been there for this Braves club. But that was something that changed here tonight. And we saw quite a few good things and quite a few good performances, none bigger than Travis d'Arnaud, who knocked in 3 of the Braves' 5 runs against his old club. So let's take a look inside the line score, let you know about some of the top performers, also some of the big moments in this game. But we'll start with the line for the Braves. They improved to 11-13 on the season, 5 runs, 8 hits, and an error for them. For the Mets, 16-8 now this year. So they're playing .667 baseball. They're winning 2 out of every 3 games. So this win is a big one to set the tone for this series. 2 runs, 5 hits, no errors for New York. Fried with the win, now 3-2. Chris Bassett takes the loss. He is also 3-2, and Kenley Jansen knocked down his 7th save in his 7th try. 3 hours and 18 minutes, kind of a damp and cold night up at Citi Field. Only 23,413 on hand to see it. Braves to get 1 home run in this game. It came off the bat of Austin Riley, who smoked one nearly 420 feet to get the Braves on the board on this night and help, as we saw, the Mets jumping out to an opportunistic run on a wild pitch for Max Fried, then a home run by Mark Canha. And then after that, Fried really locked in. I mean, not that he looked bad before, but once those couple of runs went on the board, he was completely locked in. 6 innings, 4 hits, 2 earned runs, no walks, once again, 6 strikeouts and the home run. If you look at Max Fried this year and you say, what are the keys to his success? He is living in and around the strike zone and staying one step ahead of hitters throughout the early results of this season. 30 innings pitched now, Jake, 1 walk, 27 strikeouts.
Yeah, it's been incredible. And he's becoming one of those, top, obviously, he's been a top starting pitcher, but one of those that if you don't get him early and he gets into a groove, you're not going to
Good
get
luck.
to him. Yeah. And it's that, start again tonight. You had traffic in the first inning, got out of it. And then you said, had that pass ball wild pitch later in the game, scored a run. But that curveball was just dazzling tonight. I mean, he was getting it over for strikes. He threw it 20 times. He got 9 swings on it. 5 of those were a whiff, and he got 7 called strikes on it. So that curveball was just really working for him tonight. And obviously continuing to be the master at getting weak contact, and 81.8 or 81.1 mile per hour average exit velocity against. So getting people on top of that curveball, change up, and then, even the fastball as well. And, like you said, he gave up that 1 run from Travis d'Arnaud that, look, Travis probably should have blocked it. It was a spiked ball,
Yeah.
but I think Travis would say he should probably get it. But we're going to give Travis a pass tonight, Grant, because of what he did at the plate. But still, just an amazing performance by Max Fried, who is rolling now, and love to see it.
Yeah, no, you definitely love to see that. And Fried has been giving the Braves, after building on a couple of starts that coming out of the gates, he just kind of ran into a little trouble in like a particular inning, but he really locked in beginning out in Los Angeles, and he hasn't looked back. And if he's going to give the Braves 6 or more innings of 2-run ball every 5th day, you'll certainly take that. From what Max Fried is doing. We got a lot more to get into as far as how the Braves won this game. Before we do, though, I want to let you know that the Braves Postcast is sponsored by Built Bar. These low-calorie, high-protein, high-fiber, and low-carb bars. You can replace your candy bars with them. They are better. A typical candy bar can be anywhere from 200 to 300 calories. At Built Bar, though, they're all about taste. They put a lot of good stuff in there, including high protein. They make it taste delicious, and figure out how to make it healthy. You'll be blown away by what you find. Check out all the flavors over at built.com and use the promo code LOCKED15 to get 15% off your order. So as far as how the Braves built this win, it was built on the back, or on the bat, I should say, of Travis d'Arnaud. 3 for 4 in this game, 3 runs knocked in. He tied it in the 6th inning as he was part of a 2-run rally there, and then a 2-run double in the 8th inning to give the Braves some much-needed breathing room. And I'm sure I speak for all of Braves country, and probably both of us right here. You wanted to see a couple more runs go up on the board to feel a little bit more comfortable in the late innings against a team that honestly has not really shown too many weaknesses thus far in 2022.
Yeah, and they're a team, they're not afraid to come back late as well. So it was huge to get those runs. But what a big night for Travis d'Arnaud, taking it to his old team. Always have to love seeing that. And he's, I think, quietly somehow had a really great start to this season. I think most people look at the Braves and they think of Acuna and Olsen, Riley, Ozuna, Albies. But right there, lurking behind them, is Travis d'Arnaud, who is hitting it really well this year. I loved his at bat in the 6th inning, I believe it was, where 0-2 count, just kind of threw the bat out at it and hit it into right field to score a run right there. I thought that was huge. And, he's been great, and he's, always been great with the bat. Health has always just been a big question for him. So hopefully this is the year he can stay healthy, because he looks locked in at the plate right now.
He really does. He looks more like the Travis d'Arnaud of 2020, who had his best year offensively, no two ways about it. But then last year, dealing with that thumb injury, even when he came back, I mean, he was out there physically giving the Braves everything he had, but he just didn't seem like he was comfortable and had all that strength back. And really until I feel like the postseason is when he really started to look good again at the plate. But getting this entire offseason to rest, to strengthen, just to have a little bit of time between that surgery and where he is now, I think he just looks like a much more confident, much stronger hitter at the plate. And this was a great night, a great example of that, with his 3 hits and 3 runs knocked in. Ozzie Albies with a couple of hits in this one, Jay. Great to see that. He had been in an 0 for 21 skid, hitless in that entire Rangers series, getting his first hit of the road trip. And he ended up with a couple of big hits because they helped the Braves in a couple of different rallies. He scored 2 runs on the night. Maybe these hits, which was an opposite field single, just a slap hit for Ozzie, and then beating one out. Maybe this is the thing that gets him going, because, momentum can come in all shapes and sizes, and you'll take them no matter how far they go.
Yeah, I think he's looking at Matt Olson right now, or Matt Olson's looking at him saying, how can I get me 1 or 2 of those to kind of get going? Because you're right. That's really all you need to see is just, a couple of those balls sneak in, drop in, kind of get that momentum going. I feel like Olson's just kind of pressing a little bit. He knows he's slumping. He wants to do something big for the team. You saw him in a couple of big spots tonight, just wasn't able to come through. But yes, speaking of Ozzie, certainly great to see him in that middle of the order, with Olson slumping, with Ozuna kind of going cold. You need somebody else there in the middle of that order with Riley, who is just amazing right now. It's just incredible watching him continue to hit like this, the most consistent hitter in the Braves lineup. So to have another guy, in Acuna, obviously, he'll get there eventually, but just still trying to get up to speed at the major league level. So having another guy, with d'Arnaud, who, like I said, has been very good all year as well. It's nice to have, one or two guys there you can count on. So hopefully this does get Ozzie going. He's been drawing his walks lately, which is surprising for Ozzie. So to start seeing some hits come through as well, great to see.
Yeah, all of those are things that you'd certainly like to see from Ozzie. As I mentioned, that 3-walk game the other day, I know that might not be something that people get all excited about, particularly in a game that maybe was forgettable in and of itself. But if he starts drawing his walks and starts getting himself on base at a higher clip, I'll be happy with all the home runs and extra base hits that he gives you because he's going to get those. But when he's able to find his way on base and gets on a run, he's going to be a big contributor to the Braves in the middle of the order. I think the same can be said for Marcell Ozuna, who's shown at times this year he's hitting the ball hard. At least he was coming out of the gate. But it's just for him, for Matt Olson, and for I think nobody more so perhaps at this point than Adam Duvall. The results just haven't quite been there as of yet. But you've got Dansby Swanson going a little bit. You've got Ronald Acuna Jr. back. You've got all the pieces now. You just need to put it all together if you're the Braves. And speaking of Ronald on this night, he was 1 for 4, but I don't want to talk about his hit. I want to talk about the absolute rocket that he had to center field in the 8th inning. 109 miles an hour off the bat, 411 feet is what it was estimated at, as it was dragged in by everyone's favorite Met, Brandon Nimmo, at the outfield, at the center field wall. I know that Ronald didn't get it over the wall, but man, that kind of swing, that's the first one of those we've seen. Hopefully the first of many, many this year. Some that go a little further than that and clear the wall.
Yeah, Ronald, welcome to the 2022 baseball, apparently, especially in cold weather. That had an expected batting average on Baseball Savant of 1,000. So how that wasn't a hit, I do not know. A 25-degree launch angle, hardest hit ball of the night. I know Ronald thought he had it, but not this year, not right now, Ronald, with the way these balls are not flying, rather.
Yeah, apparently not. It didn't bother Austin Riley, though. His 7th home run of the year got the Braves on the board, 418 feet off his bat. And good to see Austin on a good roll to start the season, just picking really right up where he left off in 2021, his breakout campaign. So a lot of good things for the Braves. Want to talk about a couple on the pitching side real quick before we turn the page and look at not one but 2 games, which will be coming your way on Tuesday. And that would be once Max Fried was done. Tyler Matzik came in. It looked like it might be a quick and easy 7th inning. Then you got a walk, you got a hit batsman, you got another walk, and all of a sudden he's in the soup and he's actually out of the game. Colin McHugh comes in against Mark Canha, who already had a home run in this game, and carved him up. And that is one of, I think, the biggest strikeouts of the young season for the Braves because, man, they needed that. And that felt like the moment in which everything could have turned.
Yeah, and you saw the excitement from Colin McHugh there, who kind of strikes me as a more of a laid-back guy, but he's come into a couple of big spots so far this year and not come through. So for him to come through in that moment, I think that was huge for him, his confidence, his momentum as well. But Tyler Matzik, I'll be honest, Grant, I'm a little worried about him at this point. Velo's down. He's 93, 95 instead of, more up in 96, 97. Getting hit hard, 10th percentile and hard hit percentage. And that's not great. You want to be more in the 90th percentile than 10th percentile. So I'm a little worried about him. And I think Snitker bringing him in that situation to face the bottom of the lineup tells you that maybe Snitker's a little worried about him as well right now. So that's just, something to keep an eye on for sure. But I think you saw that, and then AJ Minter coming in and Kinley doing what he did. So obviously the rest of the bullpen, took care of business. I would have liked to see Max go another inning, though. I know it's still kind of early, but as the season goes on, I want to see him get back out there, go in those 7-8 innings, going deeper into the ball game, especially when he was throwing like he was tonight.
Yeah, I'm glad you said that because that was something I thought about in that 7th inning. I want to see Tyler Matzik get it going too, but he has been a little bit lower. I saw more 95s, it felt like, tonight than I had maybe recently, maybe the last couple of outings. But yeah, you want to see that velocity get back up. But it seems like to me he went through one of these lulls last year where it didn't seem like the fastball was as lively. He was getting knocked around a little bit, but as the weather warmed up, So did Tyler Matzek. And hopefully that will be the case this year because the Braves still have some very important innings that are going to have his name on it if they have their plan go the way that they wanted to. He's an important reliever for the Braves, and we'll see if he can get things going. But the bullpen shut it down. The night shift and their new shift leader, I guess, if we want to call him that, Kenley Jansen with his 7th save of the year. And the Braves take game 1 of the 4-game set from the Mets. We're going to get you set for the doubleheader, which is coming your way on Tuesday. Before we do, though, let me tell you about betonline.net, your number one source for all your betting needs and sports info. Find all the latest sports developments, including the basketball playoffs and, of course, all the MLB action coming your way. BetOnline is your continued source for all your sports wagering information, including live betting, esports, and scores. That's betonline.net, where the game starts. Well, tomorrow, if you are an Ernie Banks fan, let's play 2. That's what the Braves and the Mets are going to be doing, and they're going to get started at 3:10 Eastern time with game 1. The starters were announced: Charlie Morton and Kyle Wright for the Braves, Carlos Carrasco and David Peterson on the mound for the Mets. So the Braves lined this series up, Jake, where they get to throw Max Fried, Charlie Morton, Kyle Wright, and Ian Anderson, their top 4 starters, as you discussed earlier when they bumped Fried back to make sure he threw in this series. Fried did the job. Now you want to pass the baton, see Charlie Morton get things right. And I think that's what Kyle Wright, you just want to see him just keep doing what he's doing.
Yeah, absolutely. Kyle Wright, don't change anything. Continue to fill up that strike zone, getting those outs. But Charlie Morton, big start for him. I know he's going to pitch. Said he wants to pitch in the first game, but we need to see him throw more strikes and be more consistent in the zone. He's been struggling, hasn't quite found that release point, or like we talked about last time, whether it's just a mechanical thing, is just not right at the moment. So big start for him to continue to try to get right and get to where we know he can be. So a big start for him. But yeah, I talked about it on Locked On Braves. Look, a 4-game series on the road against the Mets, you want a split is typically okay. But when you've lined it up like this and you've gotten game 1 now, you got a great opportunity here you win one of these games, in which doubleheaders usually, a lot of times are often a split, but you win one of these, you set yourself up on Wednesday with Ian Anderson, who's been really good lately as well, to win this series. So they got a great shot, just have to get it done, and the offense, get going and put up some runs. And hopefully the first game is a little bit easier, so you got your bullpen fresh for the night game. That's what you hope happens. Hopefully that's the recipe for Tuesday.
Well, couldn't say it better myself, so I'm going to say everything you just said times 2. Those are all things that could help the Braves get off to a good start tomorrow, maybe grab that first game, grab that momentum, secure the split of the series, and then you're kind of playing with house money as far as taking 3 out of 4 from the Mets. We'll see how it plays out. But again, game 1, 3:10 Eastern time at Citi Field, the doubleheader against the Mets. Charlie Morton and Kyle Wright, Carlos Carrasco, David Peterson, the expected pitchers for the New York Mets. So that'll wrap us up here for the Locked On Braves postcast. Appreciate you joining us as always. This is part of the all-new Locked On Sports Atlanta. Make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel and to Locked On Braves wherever you get your podcast. Great night at the ballpark for the Braves on this night. It was a victory against the first-place Mets. He's Jake Mastroianni. I am Grant McAuley. Once again, your final score tonight, it was the Braves 5 and the Mets 2. Join us tomorrow for another edition of the Braves postcast, part of the all-new Locked On Sports Atlanta. So long, everyone.